worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. But he was an introvert, you see. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say, but Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it here better, where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, as we all are, even though she was a cow, which is a good way, you need to be a cow to raise a kid, yeah. So you let them just sit there and be happy. See, mothers know best. Then they get guys in there, but they get. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew like you're going to do, till he was very big and strong. Look at that. He's huge. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. Typical guys. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked up to fight. At the bullfights in Madrid, they didn't know they ended up dead. That's typical. Just like teenagers. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the roses. Well, they're flowers. That's okay. Roses, flowers, same difference. Your father liked to do that. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, yeah, aren't they funny, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think they were very, very, very strong and fierce, and then would pick them. What's Ferdinand going to do? Right. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. That's the way it is. So he went out to his favorite cork tree and sat down. See the bee? I bought you a bee. See, this is the bee that goes to Ferdinand. Someday you'll thank me, as all mothers say. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Kind of like stepping into a fire ant hill here in Florida. Hope you never do. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You wouldn't just sting him. You would just sting him. That's just what the bee did to Ferdinand. See those eyes? They look like yours. His eyes got real big. Oh, you're looking. Okay. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw, there I can see better. The 5 men saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest and bull of all, and just the one made for the fights in Madrid. Yeah, well, he got stung by a bee. You jump around too. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. The cart is, the day is not going to be in the cart. He was in the cart. Actually, it should have said they took him, but never mind. What a day it was. Flags were flying. Bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies, senoritas to you, had flowers in their hair. Uh-oh. What do we know about flowers? They had a parade into the bull ring. Oh, you're all choked up about it. I can tell. These things happen. Almost done. First came the bandoleros. It's actually, I think there's a Y in there, but we won't even, bandolero, forget it. Your step-grandfather can tell you all that stuff. With long, sharp pins with ribbons in them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Of course, I should say angry, but we won't go there either. Next came the picadors, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. You know, PETA got a hold of this. That's pets for, or whatever, people for ethical, forget that too. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He probably was a little light in the loafers too, but we won't go there yet. He thought he was very handsome. He bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. And we will just let that go. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Who was it? Ferdinand. They got a little Ferdinand. Look at, he's peeking around the corner. He almost wants to go out and get killed. Smart. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandoleros were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. It's almost over. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought He was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns all around, stick his horns in somebody. But not Ferdinand. What did he do? He's doing just what you're doing. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers and all the lovely ladies here, and he just sat down and smelled the flowers. Yeah, that's the way to go. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the bandoleros were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and his sword. We'll take you. Someday I'll take you to Spain. So they took Ferdinand home. Yeah, we'll go to Barcelona. They don't have bullfights, but I can show you the ring. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. And he is very, very happy. And he's alive, see. So sometimes, and that is the end. And you know what? Sometimes it's wiser to sit and smell the flowers. Oops.